to him, you know, my top priority should be, you know, get out there and take a lie detector test. I was in such a fragile condition that my brother made all these decisions. I didn't even talk to him or discuss these things with him, tell him what I wanted, whether I would do this interview or do that or anything. I was, you know, not in that kind of shape.
He had to process all of this. And that's the hard thing to do, because even though he was gone for 5 days, he only remembered about 2 hours worth of his time. And you have to ask yourself, well, why didn't he remember more?
After the event made publicity in Arizona, it turns out that there was a nationally known UFO organization in Tucson called the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, or APRO. They reached out to Travis and arranged for hypnosis to be done by Dr. James Harder.
And he was a skilled investigator with engineering background as well as with hypnotic techniques.
He did a regression on me in which I was able to recount the memories for the first time in their entirety without so much of the fear that was just keeping me from even speaking without breaking down.
I talked to Dr. James Harder not long after he interviewed Travis and worked on that case. And Dr. Harder stressed the psychological impact that this had upon Travis. He was terrified.
When I regained consciousness, I was looking up at a light shining down on me from the ceiling. I believed that I was in the hospital. I didn't make any attempt to move because of the pain I was in. I couldn't focus my eyes very well, but I looked beyond the top edge of the thing that was laying across me, and I saw 2 men leaning over me. I had kind of underdeveloped features and no hair of any kind. I didn't even think. I just lashed out, and I grabbed a tube, a clear piece of glass or something, and I tried to break off the end to get something sharp to defend myself with. They didn't try to approach or anything. They just left. They just ran out real fast. There was a corridor outside, and they went to the right, and I went to the left. It was a very narrow corridor, and it was dimly lit everywhere. Going into this room, you could even see the stars back through the wall I just came through. And there was nothing in the room but a chair with some controls and knobs and things. I heard somebody come in, and I turned around, and it was a man. He wasn't like the other creatures or whatever at all. He looked just like you and I, except he had a helmet on. I started babbling questions to him, and I ran over there, and he wouldn't answer me. He just took me by the arm and wanted me to go with him. I thought maybe he can't hear me through the helmet. We went out to the door. It was a large room. There was 2 other UFO looking. They looked like flying saucers, kind of, except they were rounded, an oval shape, and they're really shining like chrome. I was led down the hallway and in a room with 3 other people that were like himself. I sat in the chair, and I tried to get the people to talk to me that were there, and they didn't have things on their head, and so I thought that maybe they could hear me, but they wouldn't answer either. They put a deal over my face. It was kind of like an oxygen mask, and it was kind of clear plastic. I looked at the ceiling, which was just, it was all solid light. There wasn't any light fixture or anything. And that was the last I remembered. I went to sleep until I woke up. I was laying on the pavement. I looked up the roadway. It was night, and I could see a light on the bottom of a flying saucer, and it just went straight up really fast, just without a sound. I recognized the roadway, and I could see a light down the hill, so I ran down that way, down to the phone booth by the gas station there. I called my brother-in-law. That's the way it happened.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you. You know, I wasn't there. I don't know. But I believe every word Travis said about it. You know, I don't have any doubt in my mind because I say he's never lied to me about nothing. That procedure was actually quite a major step in the reduction of stress that I was feeling. Yeah, I say reduction, but you know, it was at dangerous levels for months afterwards.
We know that it's possible to confabulate under hypnosis, but it's very important for the hypnotist to put in safeguards to prevent that from happening. And James Harder, Dr. James Harder, was very skilled at doing hypnosis.
The session was taped. It was observed by 2 psychiatrists. 3 actually, you know, a whole team of reporters, other researchers, my brother, there's quite a few people present. You know, everything was properly conducted.
There's no reason really to believe that it did not occur the way he recalled it. He had a lot of conscious recall of what had occurred, and he just filled in some of the details.
You have listened to the description that he gave us of his ordeal. What are your comments, your reactions in comparison with past cases?
Well, I was struck by the fact that he described these beings that didn't look quite human. He described them precisely the way another person has described them who had a similar experience. Now, this case has not been published anywhere, and no case like it that I know of has been published, so it's something that Travis could not have read anywhere. And the descriptions are identical.
We have the core experience, and that is what is so important here.
Not too long after the incident happened, you know, many investigators, other than the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, most notably Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and a number of other people who were very active in the field at the time who have either passed away or retired from the field. But one person really comes to mind was Stanton Friedman, a nuclear physicist who you know, it takes a very scientific approach to investigation of such things.
My focus is on facts and data and evidence, not on sensationalism. And I haven't had a case citing myself, so I'm not talking about, look at me, look what I saw, look what I did. And I specialize in using archives and places like that. And I think that's important, that as a nuclear physicist, I demonstrate that you can be scientific when dealing with something as kind of off the wall as flying saucers or off the sky.
Stan does his homework, and he does his field work too. He came out there, visited me in my home, spoke to the people involved, investigated the site.
That's what I'm known for. I check on things, and I have what I call a big gray basket. Not black, not white, maybe. People want a yes or a no answer. Do you believe this or don't? I say, I don't know enough in many cases. If somebody tells you a story for 2 minutes and I'm supposed to make a judgment? No, that's not the way we nuclear physicists act. At least this one doesn't.
The true watchdog of truth is someone who advocates objectivity, open-minded examination. You neither accept nor reject until all the evidence has been properly evaluated. And that's all the evidence, pro and con.
No matter what your perception of something is, or your belief, or your opinion, or your speculation, if you want to do the job right, just follow where the evidence takes you. And no matter where it leads you to, no matter what kind of an outcome or result,